beating Greece 3-0 in Salonika. After the FA's appeal to fans not to travel, there were only a few dozen English fans at the match, but their presence created a lot of friction, as David Cass now tells us.
The English fans were abused and spat upon as they went to their enclosure, guarded by scores of the 1,500 police on duty. Some responded with provocative gestures. One showed a knife, which police confiscated. Then the flares, fireworks, coins and bottles began to rain down. The police quickly decided the enclosure to be an error of judgment and tried to get the handful of supporters out. One Greek came over the railing and lost several teeth as he was arrested. Other Greeks were arrested too, but no Britons. The British couldn't believe their luck as they were ushered to seats in the team and officials' enclosure. There was no more trouble during the match.
Here's Lee, and now Neil. Chips it in for Mariner to flick one forward, and can Woodcock get a touch? Well, what a start for England. What a start. Martin. Oh, and Woodcock with a run on goal, ahead of his marker. Now can he finish? Tony Woodcock has put the ball in the net for his second and England's second. Sammy Lee complaining that they're not 10 yards. And he'll try a shot, will Lee, and it's gone in! Sammy Lee on his full international debut makes it 3-0.
After the match, a small group of Greeks, clearly intent on trouble, waited for the British to leave. The police guarded their unwelcome visitors from a prowling gang for an hour and a half before putting them on a police bus to get them away from the ground.
A century by Derek Rand.
Groups quietly took their places, wearing no colours or flags and hoping to remain unnoticed. But in a special area reserved for some more British supporters, there was trouble as local fans saw them arriving with flags and colours. Missiles were thrown and the English fans were spat upon. There were several arrests, mostly of Greek fans caught spitting, and the British fans began to look worried. In one case, a firework landed down the back of an English supporter. The situation became very tense as Greek fans began throwing flares from behind the British, but most landed harmlessly on the touchline. The police decided enough was enough, and they led the British to a safer place through a hail of missiles. So the game passed peacefully enough, but with so few English fans present and they were outnumbered 10-1 by the police, today held few lessons as to future prospects.
The hills of Salonika has no cover at all for spectators, but it's full to its 44,000 capacity. The best seats cost only £3.50, and although it's been pouring with rain here over the last 24 hours, the weather brightened up a little bit this morning, and there's light rain falling as the teams come out. There was a fairly hostile reception for the England players when they walked on the pitch after first arriving at the stadium, but it's calmed down rather now before the kick-off. And there are about 100 England fans in the ground in two separate sections. They have been segregated, and in the main, they have sensibly discarded their colours. The Greeks have 8 survivors from the European Championship finals of 2 years ago. They're without Kouis, their talented midfield player, and also left-back Karoulias. The most experienced internationals, number 3, Yosifidis, and number 4, Firos, who each win their 51st cap today. The star player in Greece is number 11, Thomas Mavros, and the most consistent international goal scorer of late, number 9, Anastopoulos. In the end, Bobby Robson was prevented by injury from selecting 8 players, the latest one being Alan Devonshire, a hamstring victim who was replaced this morning by Tony Morley. So in midfield, a first cap for Sammy Lee, a second for Gary Mabbutt, Brian Robson returning and also leading the side. And England wearing the red shirts and white shorts Greece are wearing blue shirts and white shorts. England playing from the left in the first half. And with the pitch so wet, Peter Shilton with gloves. This has gone straight to Mark Mariner. There's Neil for England. Michos going in there with Libatinos. Greeks play with two players thrust right forward, Anastopoulos and Mavros. The others come from midfield. That was Robson. Lee trying to get in. Sansom. And a foul on Kenny Sansom. Quickly spotted by the East German referee. England have the free kick. Here's Lee, and now Neil. Chips it in for Mariner to flick one forward, and can Woodcock get a touch? Well, what a start for England. What a start. Tony Woodcock closing in on Mariner's flick, and England have scored in the first minute. Well, we saw Brian Robson score in, 25 seconds in the World Cup. Look at this here. Phil Neal chips the ball forward. Paul Mariner gets a flick on. Defenders hesitate. The 7, Michos, let it go through. Woodcock put it past the goalkeeper. Tony Woodcock playing in a pair of borrowed boots. His boots disappeared from the England hotel before he left England. And now he scores. He was choosing between a pair of boots borrowed from the kitman Norman Medhurst or a pair that Terry Neal had lent him. But it doesn't matter. He's put the ball in the net, and England are in front. And here's Ardizoglu. Inside for Mavros. Ardizoglu. Libatinos. Forward goes Metropolis. And Anastopoulos could be on the end of this. Closed down by Shilton mainly when Sansom appeared to have let him have a yard. Corner to Greece. The first time the crowd have really got behind the home team. Away by Neil from the corner of Guanaris. Kenny Sansom had a couple of anxious moments against Anastopoulos. That would appear to be England's Achilles heel for the moment. Mavros is in the near post area. Ardizoglu. Little dummy there, almost lets in the... Feels the handball against Phil Neal. Not given. The ball appeared to kick up off the pitch and may have struck Neil on the hand. Referee Prokop, unmoved. Loud appeals from the crowd. No particular protest from Greek players. Libatinos just said something in passing to the ref. Robson and Nabbott very much the engine room of the England midfield today, with Lee playing wider on the right and Morley on the left. Header was by Martin. Morley will have to make this. Biros. Oh, given away to Woodcock. Now can Mariner use it? Sammy Lee bursting forward on the right. Woodcock is in the centre, being joined by Mariner now. Near post ball to Woodcock. Here comes Paul Mariner. Offside. Woodcock. Well, Paul Mariner took a heavy tumble. He was challenged as he came in. But it looked like number 2 for a moment there for England, and it's ended with an injury to the centre forward. Lee was the man who made rapid strides on the right when the ball had been given away. Woodcock came near post, doing enough to create space behind. Mariner challenged as he tried to finish, went down. And then it was offside. And there's Kostikos, who plays here in Salonika for PAOK. So he should get a decent welcome. That appears to be coming off is Ardizoglu, who, if anything, has been one of the more influential players for Greece, although he may have got a knock. So, rather sad figure making his way off to the far end of the ground as referee Prokop gives Kostikos the signal to come on in his place, number 12. That substitution made 5 minutes before half-time with the Greeks a goal down. Metropolis, away by Neil to Lee. And this is Viros going into Mariner very heavily. Referee may want a word about that. The sweeper holds his hand up as if to acknowledge that it was a bad foul. Thompson a little careless there, but Neil was covering for him. Again, the Liverpool connection gets England going with Brian Robson to Paul Mariner. Robson, can he get the return? No. Blocked off by Katsis. Well, England off to a flying start which subdued the crowd, and if they didn't capitalise on the lead, at least they retained it, despite a appeal for handball against Neil and a chance which Anastopoulos missed. But England, after taking the lead in their first attack, have the edge here at half-time. As Greece start the second half, England will be hoping to consolidate and also to secure the match. They won 2-0 in Athens on their last visit to Greece 11 years ago, did England. And the Greeks, who know that to get the crowd behind them the way that they were hoping they would, are going to do rather more pushing forward. Which they're trying to do now with Kostikos. Tony Woodcock's experience against the man markers that he played against in West Germany when he was with Cologne, coming in handy. He lobs the ball on there to Mariner and gets it back. And here's Woodcock again, capitalising on a mistake in the Greek defence. Little back heel. Brian Robson goes in for England. And disappointing finish when it could so easily have been the second goal England are looking for. It was given away initially, and Tony Woodcock, the man to take advantage, feeding Robson, whose shot went well away from the goal. Don't need to concede too many free kicks from this position because Metropolis, the number 8, is particularly dangerous in the air. Katsis has also gone forward. Kostikos is in there. And Metropolis arrives now at the far post. It comes loose and a chance. Oh, Kostikos taken from almost underneath the crossbar. Brian Robson doing some very useful defending for England. Gunaris to take the corner. And Peter Shilton will fish that one out. The drive by Mavros, who with his left foot may feel he should have done rather better. When Shilton cleared the initial header, it came to a favoured position for Mavros, but the shot in the end fairly comfortably held. Greece haven't been as effective on their left, where Neil's had time to play a part in England's build-up with Lee here, and indeed with Robson. Mabbott is well forward in this attack for England. So is Mariner, and he's onside. Paul Mariner misses. Beautifully set up by Brian Robson. Robson carrying the ball through, releasing it at the right moment to avoid Mariner being flagged offside. But Mariner, as you can see, had got the beating of Katsis here, and as the goalkeeper advanced in trying to just lob the ball over him, he also cleared the crossbar. Good chance for England, though. Martin. Owen Woodcock with a run on goal, ahead of his marker. Now can he finish? Tony Woodcock has put the ball in the net for his second and England's second, and that should surely, barring a series of mistakes by England, secure the points here. Bobby Robson and Don Howe making points to one another, but it was the forward play of Woodcock and Mariner that Don Howe thought would be influential in this match. He said so before the game, and again there they get the better of their markers. Mikos loses Woodcock. Here comes the goalkeeper, but Woodcock's finish absolutely sure. So the man in borrowed boots has got both goals and has taken his total for England now to 10. Also justifying the selection, Tony Woodcock, after only being a substitute in the last match. Here he is again. He came on against West Germany late in the day and scored a consolation goal. Today he's got two of rather greater importance. That one came in the 63rd minute for England. Sanson. Just at the moment, too, when Greece appeared to be on the verge of a comeback. Good time to score. That was a foul by Phil Thompson. The rain has now relented and the sun is beginning to come out. Metropolis. And Martin. Whistle in the crowd there could have been distracting. This is Sammy Lee. In fact, several whistles from the crowd beginning to... Here's Mariner. Perhaps disturb the concentration of one or two players. Robson. Neil. England can now not relax, but control things more steadily. That's Lee with the shot. He's made a very satisfactory introduction today to the international scene at this level, Sammy Lee. Woodcock. Oh, it's really well played between Woodcock and Robson. Viros in the way. First little sign of unpleasantness between the players, Metropolis and Mabbott. Kostikos. Oh, dear me. Greece will put themselves in trouble here. Mariner is the player running on, and Saganis outside his area, surely, when he handled. Now, what's the referee going to do? In England, as you well know, under the new concept of the law, the goalkeeper would not only have been booked there, he probably would have been sent off. But Saganis, playing in the European Championship, has gone back to his goal line, and I don't think in East Germany the referees act that way, and Mr. Prokop has given England a free kick and has done no more. Alvin Martin has trotted up to the far side of the penalty area. Mariner is further in from him. Around the ball we have Robson, Morley and Lee. Sammy Lee complaining that they're not 10 yards. And he'll try a shot, will Lee, and it's gone in! Sammy Lee on his full international debut makes it 3-0. Perhaps a slight deflection off one of the Greek players in the wall. I suspect there was, but Lee will claim it. Bobby Robson, who gave Sammy Lee his first chance today, smiling. There were plenty of complaints before the kick that the wall had not retreated. But watch Sammy Lee here. There's a definite little touch on the end of the wall. Levantinos possibly. And it's gone past Saganis to make it 3-0 for an England team who have now assumed complete control halfway through the second half. 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes would appear to have killed Greece off. They certainly should have done. And due reward for Sammy Lee, who's played very well indeed. And the Greek manager with the white hair must know now that it's a lost cause unless his side can do something remarkable. It's been a collective performance, this, as you might expect. Tony Morley inside to Mariner, back again to Robson. Oh, and upended there by Gounaris was Mariner. Gounaris, who was booked against Luxembourg for a foul. 2 bookings in this competition means you miss a match, but he hasn't been booked here. England do have a free kick from about the position where Lee scored a few minutes ago. Woodcock is coming in. Oh, good save, Saganis. Well, that looked like the hat-trick. Woodcock arriving at just the right time, but Saganis responding, going to his right. Kostikos looks for Anastopoulos. Lee. Good breaking on the far side as well here. This is Tony Woodcock on the near side. Mariner forward, so is Robson. This is still Woodcock. Sansom. Jinking down the left, and Levantinos, not for the first time, brings his man crashing down. Nabbit comes in at the far post and wins a corner off Yosifidis. Pieces of paper being thrown from the Greek crowd now around the stadium. Very much their equivalent of the white flag, I fancy. Oh, and Saganis came to meet Alvin Martin. What a drive! Well, Kenny Sansom applauded by his colleagues for striking that superbly. From the goalkeeper's punch. Sansom. Brian Robson pushing up on this side. Here's Morley. Plenty of space for England to play in now. Morley again. Nabbit. Breaking here, Kostikos. Phil Neal again, the man coming across. He's played with such authority today. Lovely little ball with the outside of his foot, which Kenny Sansom just wanted a split second longer to turn on. Abbott. Mariners made a run down the right. In the centre is Woodcock. On the left is Morley. In support is Robson. Here's Mariner. Lee. Neil. Lee goes again. Mabbott. Oh, he's had some good moments as Gary Mabbott. That's the position in the centre of midfield with Robson that he switched to after making his debut at right back. And Gunaris here being shut off rather by Woodcock. And the bad ball was by Capsis. Robson found Morley, and England have got openings here. And Morley, a bit speculative, appeals for a corner, which he thinks he deserved. Here to come off Gunaris, that, but a goal kick's been given. A game played fairly by both sides and well refereed by Prokop from East Germany. It was potentially explosive, but it hasn't turned out that way. Here's Firos. Kostikos makes the run, number 12, the ball will carry. Here's Woodcock. Lee. Kostikos. Freaks now just searching for a consolation. That's Kofidis on the far side. Indeed, the referee will now be adding on time, which he deems for stoppages. Police presence evident around the railings as the whistle goes, and what turned out to be a comfortable victory will take England to the top of their European Championship qualifying group and gives Bobby Robson his first win as manager. Don Howe, his coach, predicted this morning that the game would hinge on England's service to Mariner and Woodcock and what they did with it, and in a sense it did, because Woodcock produced 2 of the goals and Sammy Lee on his full international debut scored the 3rd. England getting on top at the start and then enforcing their superiority with 2 goals in 5 minutes, just when it was necessary in the second half. So the final score in Salonika, Greece 0, England 3. Bobby, congratulations on your first win as England manager. What did you feel was the key to the performance today?
Well, collective teamwork and collective team spirit. Toughest conditions and a baying crowd in the first half hour, but I thought we did well and kept composed. An early goal, of course, naturally helped. I mean, it silenced 1 or 2. But thereafter, Woodcock's second goal put us in the driving seat.
Owen Woodcock with a run on goal, ahead of his marker. Now can he finish? Tony Woodcock has put the ball in the net.
I mean, the third one obviously is a well-planned free kick, and Sam is, delighted with it. But I thought Woodcock's second goal, which won us the match, was good finishing and good play.
Nice too, I suppose, to pick a team for the next game with perhaps some of those 8 players you couldn't have today available, and now you're beginning to build the kind of squad that, with the experience 1 or 2 of these are getting, is vital for what's to come.
Yes, I mean, you can't have too many good players, and I'm obviously using the matches to look at 1 or 2. Some have come through marvellously well, and some who maybe were on duty on the substitutes bench, and some who weren't even selected, and 1 or 2 who we know can do it, and I'm talking about Coppels and Francis, of course, and Butcher, who didn't play in the match. Very experienced international players. So, yeah, I mean, we mustn't jump about it. It's a long process, and it's slow, but it's a wonderful and deserved result for the team. I'm pleased for them, and I'm pleased for the country too.